There is a specific kind of frustration that comes when you finally found the perfect partner, that vendor that's going to help you scale a specific part of your business, only to watch them disappear into a departmental black hole for 3 months. They pass their procurement, then get stuck in legal. They sit in the finance queue for 2 weeks, then wait on IT security approval that no one seems to own. By the time you actually onboard them, the momentum is gone, the team is frustrated, and you've already paid a waiting tax and lost productivity. Now you've probably been told that you need a piece of expensive software to fix this. But throwing technology at a broken process is like putting a faster engine in a car with no steering wheel. Hi, I'm Summer, founder of Driven Connection. We help founders and growth leadership teams build operational architecture that enables expansion without erosion, growth that doesn't burn out your people. Today, I'm going to show you how to build a 5-star vendor onboarding system using absolutely zero fancy technology. We're going to look at how to orchestrate your team as the first step towards the ultimate goal of scaling without the stress. Why is this so hard for so many? It's not because your team is lazy. Gartner, the world's leading research firm, reports that vendor onboarding is actually getting harder. The medium company now takes about 90 days to complete a due diligence process. That's 20 days longer than it was just 4 years ago. And for larger company, the Institute of Supply Management says it can stretch to 6 months. But here's the scary part that no one's saying loud enough. 82% of companies admit that they lack confidence in their vendor data. The systemic dysfunction costs businesses upwards of $3 trillion globally. The root cause isn't necessarily bad software. It's what's known as ownership vacuum. When a process touches 5 or more departments, procurement, legal, finance, it effectively belongs to nobody. Information gets lost in handoffs, context is forgotten, and the vendor is forced to answer the same 4 questions over and over and over. You don't always need a new tool. You do need orchestration. I've spent my career in high-stakes world of systems installation, from Fortune 100 agile transformations to deploying network infrastructures and giant conglomerates. If there is one thing I've learned, it's this: you cannot automate a process that you don't understand. If you don't know exactly what you need, you shouldn't buy software. Going through a manual, low-tech version of your workflow is a mandatory first step in any transformation when you haven't included an expert to bridge the knowledge gaps. I call this building your minimum viable system. By using the tools you already have, simple spreadsheets, shared inboxes, and clear calendars, you bridge the gap between management by heroics and professional logic. The ROI is massive. While full automation can reduce onboarding time by 75%, simply fixing the human coordination layer can give you 30 to 45% cycle time reduction in just 6 months. That means taking your 90-day wait and cutting it down to 45. That is time you can't buy back, but you can certainly engineer it. Here is your blueprint for the 5-star system without the expensive bills. Step 1. The driven ownership matrix. Most delays happen because of unclear power, not missing contracts. Schedule a 60-minute session. This isn't a meeting that should have been an email. This is a collaboration session. Get legal, IT, and finance, whoever touches this process, into one space. Map every step: risk assessment, contract negotiation, system setup. Then create what's known as a RACI matrix. RACI stands for responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. When you build this diagram, you're going to assign one person as accountable for each outcome. Not 3 people, 1. Gone are the days where we load up a bunch of people in the accountable column and nothing actually gets done. Step 2, the 15-minute impact stand-up. For the first few weeks or months after you install this framework, hold a 15-minute standing meeting for accountable parties only. This isn't for staring at a deck. This is to clear roadblocks. If issues are solved, kill the meeting and move to chat. Don't get caught on the meeting hamster wheel if you're not removing roadblocks or solving problems. Step 3. The one-page logic map. Build a simple swim lane diagram. This is just a visual that shows how the vendor moves between departments. It prevents the context loss where nuances are discussed between procurement that sometimes never reach their way to the legal team. Step 4, the proof of concept checklist. Create a one-page summary of every document that's needed. This is the core of your minimum viable system. Once you prove this works manually, then you can think about all the technology that you can dream of. Step 5, the team bridge. Don't wait until training day to tell your team. Use a change management mindset to reassure them that this isn't about their performance. It's about making it easier for them to do their jobs. You are protecting them from that actual friction. I talk more about quick functional email notifications to teams in episode 4, breaking down your operations communications. What does a 35 to 45% increase in efficiency actually look like at scale? If you onboard 25 vendors a year, which is typical for a growing mid-market firm or high-velocity small business, a 40% reduction in wait time recovers over 600 hours of manual effort. That's nearly 3 years of productivity returned to your business. You can also view this as 175,000 to 300,000 direct savings annually for 25 vendors. It's a 4 to 6 fewer coordination cycles for suppliers, meaning 150 fewer emails and calls. And last, 20% increase in supplier performance. The relationship starts with clarity, not chaos. But let's look at the bigger picture. If only 25% of small and medium-sized businesses in the United States implemented these 5 steps, we'd recover over 1.3 million years of human productivity and enable over 1.75 trillion in new business value. When you get this right, you aren't just saving a few hours in a spreadsheet. You are removing the friction that holds back the entire economy. Research shows it takes an average of 13 separate communications from an organization just to secure a vendor's initial attention. By building this simple architecture, you are differentiating yourself. High-performance teams view cross-functional collaboration as their competitive moat. When you make it easy for partners to work with you, you get better pricing, faster innovation, and preferential treatment when the market gets difficult. This is the result of expansion without erosion. You are building a business that grows because it's architected for success, not because you're asking your team to simply work harder. Success follows the architecture you built, not the hours you grind. We'd love to hear about one vendor relationship you've been putting off onboarding because you just know the internal process is going to be a nightmare. Which department usually becomes the black hole for you? Let's talk about it in the comments. If you're ready to start orchestrating your growth, I've put together a vendor onboarding ownership matrix template that's linked below. Use it for your next collaboration session with your team. You're learning, you're growing, and you're architecting your business. Don't wait for the perfect software to start protecting your team's time. I'm Summer Ames Prodan, and we'll see you soon on the next installment of Driven Bricks.